Good morning, family. I thought that this morning, at least before we start, before I start the day, I have to actually talk about this. It has been in my mind for some time. Now, I want us to talk Thabo Mbeki, Julius Malema, Jacob Zuma, and Andile. So, I want you to understand white mentality and how whites are using black people without them even being aware of it. Now, let's start with Thabo Mbeki. What was Thabo Mbeki? Thabo Mbeki was a Pan-Africanist. If you remember what inspired him, even the poem, I'm still an African. No, I'm still an African. I'm an African. I'm mixing this with my book, sorry. I'm an African. Not only did Thabo Mbeki spearhead the process of African rebirth and renaissance and continental African unity. Remember when there was a Sudanian conflict whereby there was tribal war in Sudan? Dumela, Mr. Mohale. So Mbeki helped in the creation of South and North Sudan because the conflict was over simple administrative issues and tribalism. So he was already joining hands with people like Muammar al-Gaddafi. He was now joining hands with people like Robert Mugabe. And what did they say to discredit Thabo Mbeki? Because me and you didn't understand the power of Mbeki's role and what he was doing in African unity. Remember what Muammar al-Gaddafi stood for. The United States of Africa, that we use one currency and so forth. So what did they say to us? They brought Jacob Zuma to question and say, look at Thabo Mbeki. He doesn't care about the people. People are suffering here in South Africa and is away and helping and solving other people's problems, whereas his own people are struggling, for which was not true. They were trying to disrupt him. Yes, sir, Mr. Pereko, thank you. So now, what did they do? They started showing pictures and images of Jacob Zuma dancing and singing with the people. But what was Jacob Zuma's motto at that time? Aule tumshiniwa, which means bring my machine gun, meaning the seat. So he have always wanted to become a president. So what did they do? They used Jacob Zuma to discredit Thabo Mbeki. And the Pulukwali conference, that's a good example. They said so many things against Thabo Mbeki. Now, it comes to Jacob Zuma. When Jacob Zuma assumed power, he now deviated from capitalism. When I'm talking about capitalism, I'm talking about the West. I'm talking about America, and I'm talking about Britain. Now, what is the relationship between South Africa and Britain? South Africa is British colony. And under the agreement that was signed in 1990 by Nelson Mandela with the International Monetary Fund, after they received the loan of 850 million US dollars, they have agreed that they will break down trade routes with the state. That's why America was bullying us in selling us chicken, unhealthy chicken. I'm not sure if it's 2 years back. So now, how did Jacob Zuma deviate from capitalism? He joined forces with the BRICS countries, for which these BRICS countries are what? Are pro-communism or are communist countries, wealthy countries. But now, before Jacob Zuma could do that, he understood that you can never deviate from Britain and America without being branded as a terrorist. So what did he do first? If you can even see this Nkandla brigade that people talking about, hey, Nkandla this, you've stolen money, they used that because they knew people were going to react. But look, the money was used for security upgrades. Listen to this. Security upgrades for protection. Why will a man in that plan, the Nkandla security upgrades included an underground house? Why? Because he knew that in order to deviate from Britain and America, you need to be well protected and prepared. So in order to make that feasible, he joined hands with one of the most powerful in terms of military countries like China and Russia. So the West realized that, okay, well, this is going to become a problem. This guy is going to take British control of South Africa. So in order to discredit him, Naspers and Stratcom both joined hands to discredit Jacob Zuma. Even myself, I thought, but Jacob Zuma is useless. He can't even speak. The man is weak. The white man is not a leader. They used all of those things to make him look bad. But I promise you, he was for the people. And then they realized that he's deviating from there. After they've used him to oust Mbeki, they say, And after he have expelled Julius Malema from the ANC, they said, okay, well, now, Julius Malema, I do not think personally that Julius Malema sold out. But I do think that when he went to London, him and the likes of, Robin Renwick and whoever, I do think that they've agreed that they both have something in common. The fact that they do not like Jacob Zuma. So therefore, if you can pay attention closely, you realize that Julius Malema was there. Whistleblowers. He was a whistleblower for many things. Some of these things were things that you can only have access to if you have intelligence. And people started saying what? Julius Malema is a prophet. Not necessarily. I would like to believe that Capital joined forces with him and gave him secret information. They gave him this, they had intelligence and surveillance. They provided him with evidence and facts to discredit Jacob Zuma. That's why whatever Julius said about Zuma was true. The first thing was the relationship with the Guptas, for which was true. The other thing was the issue of Nkanda, for which also was true. And he said so many things about what was this ESCOM and what was happening. All of those were true, but all of those stories were used to discredit Jacob Zuma because they were facts. Now, they realized Jacob Zuma, they are done with him, and now is their favorite candidate, Cyril Ramaphosa. The only way Julius Malema is going to save himself is if he joins forces with the ANC and with Cyril Ramaphosa, because Cyril Ramaphosa is core capital. If you go against Cyril Ramaphosa, that's what you see. Now, which brings me to my next point about Andile. You have seen an article written by Jacques Paul saying that Julius Malema is being financed by Mazzotti, who is an Italian drug dealer. And then Andile, let's bring us to our last point. Who is Andile? Andile have warned us in the black community that look, whites are using Stratcom and the entire white media to discredit black leadership. They are anti-black, and therefore nothing said in the media can be used against our own leaders. If Andile says Julius Malema is a sellout, he's a liar, he said he will kill for Zuma, and turn back and say Zuma is an enemy. The same Andile in 2014, I'm not sure if it's in 2014, when he was expelled when they were suspended, 3 of them were suspended by the EFF. He himself said that we will continue to become members of the EFF. We will continue to defend the revolution through the EFF, whether we are out or not. But then he turned again and said the EFF is anti-black. And you, as Black First, Land First, you pro-black. What are you doing, Andile, right now, my brother? I'm seeing Andile now even doing some visual representation of how much of a sellout Julius Malema is. Okay, let me say, now you're talking about Mazzotti. You even opened the case. Your movement opened the case against Mazzotti. How is that going to benefit black people? I'm not interested in Mazzotti, my brother. If you are different from Julius and you cannot be used, you are building on the letter that was written by Jacques Paul, the same man who wrote the President's Keeper, which was a bestseller in South Africa, a book that was used to discredit Jacob Zuma. And the very same Jacques Paul was used by Straightcom to discredit Winnie Madikizela Mandela. Now, if Jacques Paul writes a letter, an open letter to Julius Malema, even the facts that were written, they were not so accurate. They were not accurate. Because although Mazzotti might have been involved, he's not the one who financed Malema's whatever it is. Now, my question to you is, who is Mazzotti in the politics of South Africa? This man is only an Italian drug dealer. How is that going to benefit the black people? Are you now shying away from the Ruperts, the Rothschild, the Oppenheimers, and those that control the people, the country? The like of your De Beers and Goldfields. If you open cases against FW de Klerk, my brother, I am with you. If you open cases against the likes of the apartheid nationalists, against APSA and all of that, you are right on track. But if you start deviating, Mazoti, even capital do not like Mazoti. So you are not frustrating capital by opening against Mazoti. It's a waste of time. It's a political contestation. It is trying to actually play the same role that have been played by all the leaders I've mentioned. They are now using him. Just today, I thought I must say this because today when I was on Twitter, I've seen it on Twitter. There was a white woman who said we now still need to listen to, what is this? Blackfest Landfest. You say Blackfest Landfest is open for black people only. So if I hear white people starting to say people need to listen to Blackfest Landfest, my brother, I become worried. Because all of these leaders have been used. And sometimes you get used without being aware. Bongo Kumalo, your views are misguided. Zuma went to London after he was told the Queen that there won't be national compensation. So Zuma has never. No, I agree. That's why I'm saying Zuma was used before Bongo. Zuma was used by capital, but as soon as he deviated from capital, they started standing against him. But before he could actually deviate, he did have a plan. Zuma did have a plan to return the land. Okay? But the only problem with Zuma is that he delayed. But these delays were as a result of what? Security upgrades and joining forces with people who have got the military, the guns. And then when he invested in military weapons, they said it's arms deal. But now, Mbeki came and corrected this. There's no such thing as arms deal. That is security procurement or military procurement or something like that. You need to buy arms. If you know that countries which are controlling you like Britain and America are strong in the arms, you need protection yourself first before you can deviate, because there will be bloodshed. Now, I was talking about Andile Mnitam. My last point is that if Andile is a leader, he's not going to speak against any other leader. I love Andile. I'm not a politician, so you must know that my view is neutral. That's why you hear me saying I love Andile, I love Julius, I love Mbeki, I love Jacob Zuma. All of them have been used. They are our people. We need to embrace them. And if you're a leader, the only problem, the only enemy that we are facing and confronted with is white supremacy and white capital. Mazoti plays no role in the white supremacy and white capital struggle. It's just a drug dealer. Drugs have nothing to do with the sufferings of the majority of our people. Let's focus. No, I owe you data. Yes, my brother, I owe you data. Where was Zuma going to return the land to? I don't know. I'm not saying I'm taking Zuma's side, my brother. I'm not. And I'm not saying I'm taking Andile's side. And I'm not saying I'm taking Julius Malema's side. I'm just sharing my view of how all of them were or are still going to be used by white people. Sorry for finishing your data, black family. I love you in black.